Today we're going to talk about a really powerful idea from psychology, one from Alfred Adler that gets right to the heart of what makes us tick. You know, that feeling we all have, that push to always be a little bit more.
Have you ever stopped and asked yourself why you're never really truly satisfied? I mean, why are you always trying to learn something new or get that next job or just, improve yourself? Well, it turns out there's a really deep reason for it, and it all starts the moment we're born.
All right, so let's get into it. For a psychologist named Alfred Adler, the entire story of who we are, our whole personality, it all begins with a feeling every single one of us shares. And it's not a bad thing, it's just the starting line.
I mean, just think about it for a second. When you're a baby, you are completely helpless. You can't feed yourself, you can't walk, you can't do any of the things the big people around you are doing. Adler said this creates this really early, really natural feeling of inferiority. But, and this is the most important part, that feeling isn't a weakness. It's the actual spark that lights the fire for us to grow.
So, right there, that initial feeling of being small, of being dependent, that kicks off a lifelong journey. It fuels this powerful forward-moving drive inside of us to get past our limits and just get good at life. And this drive, it's the absolute core of Adler's whole theory.
And this is where Adler really breaks away from his super famous contemporary Sigmund Freud. You see, while Freud thought we were all being pushed around by stuff from our past, unconscious conflicts and all that, Adler had a different take. He argued that we are pulled forward by our goals for the future. He saw us as active, conscious people who are striving to become more, not just prisoners of our past.
And the engine for all of this is what he called striving for superiority. Now, it's so important to understand this term. Adler did not mean superiority over other people, like being arrogant or trying to dominate them. Not at all. He meant striving for a superior version of yourself, becoming more competent, overcoming your personal challenges, and developing your own unique talent. So that natural feeling of inferiority is supposed to be this great motivator. But what happens if it just gets to be too much? Well, Adler said there are two unhealthy ways people can get stuck and start to cope poorly.
So on one hand, you've got the inferiority complex. This is when that I can't do it feeling just takes over your life and you basically give up. You start avoiding challenges because you're just totally convinced you're going to fail. Then on the flip side, you've got the superiority complex. And this one's tricky because it's actually just a mask for feeling deeply inferior. This is the person who acts all arrogant, who brags all the time, because they're desperately trying to convince themselves and everybody else that they aren't as insecure as they really feel. Sound familiar?
So, okay, if we're all on this quest, this striving for superiority, how do we actually go about it? Well, Adler said that each of us develops our own unique strategy, almost like a personal blueprint for how we deal with the world. He called it our style of life. It's your personal, signature way of looking at problems, dealing with people, and chasing your goals. And here's the wild part. He believed this fundamental pattern, this blueprint, is pretty much set in our early childhood, around age 4 or 5. Based on our family and our early experiences.
Adler mapped out 4 main styles. You have the ruling type, who tries to have power over others. Then there's the getting type, who is super dependent and just expects other people to fix their problems. Then you have the avoiding type, who just sidesteps any challenge they can because they are terrified of failing. But then there's the 4th type. And this is what Adler saw as the healthiest way to live, the socially useful type. This is the person who takes their own personal drive for growth and channels it into things that actually help other people. They don't just overcome their own challenges, they help others with theirs too. Which brings us to one of Adler's most, I think, beautiful and important ideas, that our connection to other people isn't just nice to have, it's absolutely essential. He called this social interest. It's our built-in sense of belonging, our ability to feel empathy, and our feeling of responsibility for the good of the community. For Adler, how much social interest you had was basically the ultimate report card for your mental health. A healthy life is a life lived with and for other people.
And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? It gets to the absolute core of his idea. It shows that real personal growth isn't about being better than somebody else. It's about building your ability to see, hear, and feel the world from their point of view.
So all this leads to Adler's most empowering idea of all. Because you might be thinking, well, if my style of life was shaped when I was 5, am I just stuck with it? And Adler's answer was a huge no. Because we all have this incredible thing inside of us.
He called it the creative self. This is the part of you that is the artist of your own personality. You are not just a victim of your genes or your childhood. No, you are an active creator who takes your experiences and decides what they mean.
So here's how it works. Two people can go through the exact same tough time. One person might see it as proof that life is just unfair, and then they withdraw. But another person, using their creative self, can see that same event as a challenge to overcome. They give it a meaning that fuels their growth and helps them set new goals. At the end of the day, we are the architects of our own lives.
So Adler really leaves us with this huge, profound thought. Every single one of us starts out feeling small, and we are all driven to be more. The real question isn't if you're going to build something with your life, it's what are you going to choose to build with that fundamental drive.